We do anybody remember where I left off at? And what was that on? That was the list, right? Okay. It was on the principles or the various pranas. Let's see.
So I think we stopped at the nadis on page 151.
We stopped at the nadis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, we all know we should save and...
So everybody understand what the nadis is? Hmm? Everybody understand? You want to tell us what you understand about it?
The nadis are subtle lines of force that flow throughout the auric structure that carry the kundalini energy that's dispersed throughout the bodies. They intersect at the respective psychic centers. The number of times that they intersect correlates to the type of chakra it is, with some major, minor, or minute.
Right.
And in most people, the energy flow is clogged and obstructed. And it's through practices like pranayama, mantra, that we clean the nadis and promote a greater flow of kundalini throughout the aura.
You miss one thing, through right thought and actions.
Right. Thought and action.
Then prana and prayer and mantra. You unclog the nadis. That's why it's a great preference on controlling your thoughts and actions, because how the nadis get clouded is through our own thought and actions. You know, as we go out and do the wrong thing that's adverse to us, it set up barriers for ourselves. So the reason why we have to resort to prana, prayer, pranayama, prayer, and mantra is because of the obstruction that we created for ourselves, and to try to enhance the flow of that prana, or enhance the flow of the nadis, in other words. So essentially, you have three types of nadis. You have the Pingala nadi, which is a vital flow of energy, and you have the Ida nadi, which is a mental flow of energy, and then you have Shushumna, which is both vital and mental energy traveling together in unison. And how these nadis work, from what we understand, is they actually extends from the base of the spine, which is where the Kundalini is, and it spreads out throughout the body, creating a background signature for the neural pathways of all the bodies, and the vital pathways of all the bodies, and too, as you could say. So, and some people estimate up to 700 pathways, but the mystics say that there's primarily 242,000 pathways. Some people say it's 720,000 pathways. And then some people say it's only 72,000 pathways. But a lot of the mystic yogis say that there's about 242,000 pathways. And these pathways branch off. There's three major branches of these nadis, and they create those signature pathways for the neural pathways and the vital pathways for the astral body, the etheric body, the mental bodies, and the higher spiritual bodies. So they create those pathways for that type of activity to be allowed. The nadis also helps to formulate and divide consciousness in a sense where you have 108 chakras within the body. The nadis represent a flow of energy. In fact, the word nadi actually means flow of prana or shakti. And of course, Shakti is mind energy and vital energy. So what happens is that the Kundalini, when the Shakti power moves into the formation of Kundalini, which actually forms Kundalini, a portion of that energy is released through a sound vibration, right? And that's where we get the 4 states of sound from. This sound vibration is released, creating the pathways of the nadis. And on the sound, on this subtle sound or soundless sound, that's what they actually call it. They call it a soundless sound because it's a parasound. It's a sound on a very, very, very high etheric frequency. And it releases this sound, and this sound goes out, and with the sound, it carries the energy. It carries the mind energy and the vital energy. And it becomes the vehicle of consciousness, you know, and it creates it creates this matrix that allow consciousness to happen. And one of the ways it does this is by intertwining itself with the various vortexes, and the chakra is a vortex. In your aura, you have at least what we know of 108 vortexes, right? And that's an input and export of energy, where energy enters and exit the auric fields. So what the nadis do, when this flow of energy leaves Kundalini, it threads itself in and out of those vortexes, creating a vehicle of consciousness for us, or for all of us to live in. And that's how we communicate and move through cycles of reincarnation, because of this threading of the Kundalini. And also, as it branches out, it creates a subconscious layer of mind. It creates a conscious layer of mind, and it creates a superconscious layer of mind. And of course, it already had a supraconscious layer of mind that it relied on in order to make the movement that it made, which is more like a soul conscious layer of mind. So if we was to look at it, I guess in sensation, and as it built, you had the supra-conscious level of mind, which is the soul layer of mind. Then you had the supra-conscious mind, and then you had the subconscious mind, and finally you had the conscious mind that we're operating on right now. So that's how it actually fell down or developed itself. And that's what this matrix of nadis actually do, essentially. It creates that signature background for consciousness to exist. And from that, you have the nervous system, you have the mind, you have all these different layers of mind. Yeah.
You said fall down. That's the evolution process, right?
Yeah, that's the evolution process. Yeah, because at the top level, you had a supra-conscious level of mind, which is where the soul is operating at. Right, where the soul created this type of consciousness in order to operate, and then from there, the supra-conscious mind had to create a superconscious mind, and then the superconscious mind created a subconscious mind as almost like a background operating system, because, yeah. It's the same way, and then in the operating system for the superconscious mind, it's a supraconscious mind. And the operating system for the supraconscious mind is a soul. But in order to get to to this basic level of consciousness, it had to create a subconscious mind, and then from there it created a conscious mind. And now the conscious mind is operating in a very, very limited state of consciousness in order to experience the basic level of manifestation. And in order to gain experience of this solid world, and the solid world being the astral, etheric, and physical worlds, But that's the way it operates, and the Nadi system is that system that's the background system to allow all those things to operate. So any questions on that? Now there's a lot more information on this Nadi system. In fact, some of the ancient books actually talk about the different nadis, not types of nadis, but flow of nadi energy that travel like from the base of the spine to the ear, to the eyes, to the nose, to the mouth, to the skin system that travels to the fingers. It actually, they actually name all these nadis, the major nadis that allows you to operate. It travels to the tip of the tongue, to the root of the tongue, and in fact, a lot of the healing systems and systems of development is based on the flow of that energy. Another system, acupuncture. Acupuncture is related to that too, because what it does, it measures the flow of energy moving around in the body, and to try to balance that flow of energy in order to correct anything that's not working right. So this it's really a science that needs to be studied further, so that we can help ourselves. Because the more we study it, the more we can learn how to, what that flow is, how to correct the obstructions and move on. The Raja Yoga approach and the Hatha Yoga approach and the Bhatha Yoga approach and the Karma, they took a large swing at it, saying, do X, Y, Z, adopt a certain living, and you can avoid a lot of the obstruction that you're going through. And they did that through the 8 limbs of yoga, telling you the rules and regulations. I think there's like 192 things that you need to do in order to walk that path or something like that. But that's what it's all about. It's about right thought, right action, in order to align the energy to flow at its maximum level, so that you can gain the full experience necessary in order to evolve. I think in my book, The Ancient Language of the Soul, I actually go in and name some of the, I think I named the 14 major nadis that, that's related to the sensory perception.
I have a question on astral projection that relates to the chakras, and we're going there right now. But this is when astral projecting, do you project or travel through the chakras to the different astral realms, since the chakras represent a vortex of consciousness?
Yeah, you usually exit the body through one of the chakras, through astral projection. But it's not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to focus on one of the chakras in order to project. It's not good to. Although I know some practices tell you to do so, unless you have a keen concentration level, you shouldn't do that. There's other ways to get around doing it. Any other questions?
Not yet.
Let's see what we said about this. Did we go into this here?
You mean last time?
I'm saying when we wrote it up, when I wrote it up. You don't talk much about it, huh?
Why this is the presentation?
Huh?
This from the handout or this is something different?
This is one of our workshop PowerPoints. From Okay. Okay, I guess if there's no other question, we'll move on to the chakras. Okay? I should have gave the English names to this.
Starts at the base and works its way up.
Huh?
I was telling you when.
Yeah, start from the base, yeah. This is the base of the spine. This is the sex center. And this is the solar plexus. And we can give that PowerPoint out. I guess we can give that out.
The workshop one?
Yeah.
Free?
Give it out. Give it out to the people tell them they want it, just check in, they can have it. The people online right now and the people in the class, if you all want us to email it to you, we can email it to you. And this is the Christ chakra. Well, that's what some people call it the third eye. And this is the crown. Now, the PowerPoint is not really finished. It's a draft form, but the base of the spine is where is a vortex center or psychic center where Kundalini, basic consciousness, resides. Okay, that's where the Shakti power falls into this region, and the karmic pressures bring about the 3.5 knot of that Shakti power, bringing about Kundalini, which Kundalini is a vehicle of consciousness, right? And from there, that's where consciousness starts. It's there where this subtle, soundless sound extend itself out all the way up to the throat center, creating layers of consciousness. It is the start of basic consciousness. Then you have the sex center, where as this consciousness moves to the sex center, that's where basic consciousness resides. If you look at all the ancient teachers, you will see that man's consciousness resides at the sex center. All right, and then you'll notice that the energy that flows through the sex center invades the whole body. It travels through the whole body. It moves from the sex center and moves through every inch, every molecule, every part of the body, and that's the Viana Prana. It's a mind type energy because it travels, it moves consciousness around the body, from your toes all the way up to the brain. That's where that energy travels. So that is the residence of consciousness there in the sex. Now you got to understand that prana is actually psychic energy. That's what it is. It's psychic energy, especially when you describe prana, when prana comes into the envelope of the auric structure, is actually considered psychic energy. So then you have the solar plexus center. The solar plexus center is a vortex center that actually it's actually a conjunction point for all the pranas in the body. That's what it is, and is at this place where the prana can be transferred among each other. It can be modified. It can move from a gaseous vapor state to a liquid state to a solid state, and then go back to a liquid state to a vapor gas state. Okay, so this is where the prana can move back and forth, all right, through that solar plexus region. That's why it's the conjunction point of prana. All right. Then you have the heart chakra. When the prana that's there is the type of prana that actually fuels the body. So at that point, you have a sound quality of the prana. You have, in fact, at the heart chakra and the throat chakra, is a sound quality of the prana. Is because why? Because it is at the heart chakra where the prana takes form. It takes form, and it takes an intelligent movement begins to happen to the prana. Yeah.
Prana in the solar plexus doesn't fuel the body.
Augustine, I can't hear you.
What?
The prana in the solar plexus center, doesn't that also fuel the body or no?
It's more of a storehouse, and it does fuel the body, but it's more of a like I said, it transfers, modifies, and break down and build up.
Okay.
But at that point, it's more functionable, but it's receiving its orders from somewhere else. In other words, you understand what I'm saying?
No, it's meaning from the sex and the, where's the order coming from?
It's coming from the subconscious mind.
Okay.
Okay, now this is the trickery inside of metaphysics, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it because it's not clearly understood. But as I go up, you'll understand. Okay, so in other words, I tell you right now, so not to confuse you, the sex center and the Christ center have a special relationship. Okay, there's a special relationship with the sex center and the Christ center. And because the Christ center is what? Anybody who remember, what is the Christ center?
Command center.
It's the command center. Okay, so
It has a reflection in the sex center.
it has a reflection in the sex center. So so now, you remember we talking about involution and we talking about the start of evolution, in other words. Because the energy has failed, but now it needs to rise up. It needs to begin to move forward. So when we talk about the solar plexus center, we talk about the functions of the solar plexus center. All right. Now, because why? Because it has a particular function to break down prana and store prana, right? Now, in the heart chakra, that's where the subtle bodies are actually formed and maintained, right? And you think about the heart. What does the heart do? Our physical heart. Yeah, what is our?
Pumps blood, it circulates.
Yes, it pumps blood, right? It has a sound that allows the heart to continue to beat, right? And it push blood out. It push oxygenated blood out, and bring the carbon dioxide, the blood back in. You could say the red blood and the blue blood, right? In a sense, right? So and it push it back through the lungs in order to oxygenate it again and keep going. It brings about form. It brings about intelligent movement. That's what that energy does. In other words, it keeps the body alive. It reserves the body. If that wasn't working, the solar plexus region couldn't work, right? All right. So then, when you go to the throat, the throat chakra, what does the throat chakra do? The throat chakra, in a sense, brings it's a purifying chakra, and it's a preparatory chakra of energy too. Because what does it do? What does it do? It brings about. It allows gross consciousness to express itself. In other words, you understand what I'm saying? In other words, when the energy get to this level, you can take mental desires, right, and mental thought, and transfer them to the outside world. You can communicate, right? So now what happens, you can express yourself, you can express your inner desires in a gross fashion. Through what? Through speech, right? Through speech and through movement. Because the throat center actually controls your hands, your arms, your hands, your head, and your legs. The energy that radiate through the throat center from the cosmos actually travels in the head, down the arms, and down to the legs, and of course the feet and hand. So it's an expressive energy, and it's an energy that allows you to move, travel, and get around. In fact, it is this same energy, it is the throat energy that allows you to enter and exit the body at sleep, right? And in a meditative state too. It is this energy that's traveling through the body that allows you to do that. All right? And in fact, the adept or the master cannot exit this earth. Cannot leave this planet in an etheric form unless they can move Kundalini up fully to the throat center.
Pass it through center.
No, they have to raise Kundalini fully to the throat center and open that particular chakra in order to be able to break the ring pass not of this earth. In other words, the ionic spirit belt of this earth in order to visit other planets. It cannot do it. Other than that, they're bound. So because the throat center at that level, when they raise Kundalini to that level, they're not only an adept, but they are karmic adept too. They are an adept of tremendous karmic knowledge and karmic balance and understanding, because it is this level that prepares them to be able to become an avatar. See, because at the next level, which is the Christ chakra, when they can raise Kundalini to the Christ chakra, which is the command center, easily back and forth, then they of course they're a master, and they are a cosmic being. They're moving towards a cosmic being. They are an avatar. Because at any time, once they have mastered that, they can move up to the crown chakra, which releases them from the wheel of rebirth of this earth. Okay? It's this lady. Yeah. So that's that's why it's like that. So now back to what I was talking about before. You understand what I was talking about before about it? At this level, at the third eye level, or the Christ chakra level, it sends the commands out throughout the whole body. But since we're in a basic conscious level, right? You have to go through some means. So the residents of consciousness have to pull on the power of the upper chakras in order to function. And the signal comes here, goes down here, and then through the heart chakra and back down to the sex chakra in order to give us movement. Okay, in order to allow us to do it, because there's still a karmic balance that needs to happen. Now, another thing you got to understand, that you have at the heart chakra, you have also what's called the seat of the soul. Okay, the soul uses the heart chakra as a point of operating, right? And then you also have the level where the soul resides, right? The soul actually resides at the Christ level, okay? So you have the soul residing at the Christ level, the third eye level, and then it seats at the heart level. So it's a double play there. In other words, that's why you have super conscious level, then you have a super conscious level, then you have a subconscious level, and then you have a conscious level. Now the subconscious level of the chakras is the base chakra, the sex chakra, and part of the solar plexus chakra. Okay, and then you have the superconscious level is the upper chakras from the heart chakra up, right? Although the superconscious exists on all levels, on all chakras, but you have a greater activity of the subconscious and the conscious level on the lower chakras. And it shows you again that the energy, the Viana energy, the Viana Prana that's in the sex chakra pervades the whole, it travels through the entire body. It moves throughout the entire body. That is the subconscious level, see? So it's not only the conscious level, but it's where the subconscious resides, right? And of course, at the base level, because at the base of the spine, you have conscious, unconscious, and conscious. You know, that energy at the same thing the same thing that happens at the sex center and solar plexus center, and also at the heart chakra as well. Okay. So is there any other questions on this?
Yeah.
Go ahead. From online?
Yes, I'm online. What happens if you see the astral mixed with the physical world?
What they have in psychic visions, you saying? What you looking for, ink pen?
Yeah.
You have here. You have the only thing that means is that your astral senses and physical senses have merged, and now you having psychic visions. That's all that really means. And that happens to a lot of people, where they begin to either see people's aura, or they see energy formations, or they see entities that exist on the other realms. So I mean that's a normal thing if you're practicing pranayama or doing prayers or mantras or whatever, and just trying to live right. After a while, what happens? You have a set of physical senses, and you have a set of astral senses. When those physical senses and astral senses begin to merge, right? Mainly because your nadis began the obstruction in the nadis began to clear up, and then you have a portion of that begin to merge. Then those senses merge into a psychic sense, and if you practice with it, you can learn to turn that psychic sense on and off. So then you develop these abilities to be able to see on the astral planes, or see between the planes, or see the auras. Eventually you begin to be able to project from the body. You begin to read people's minds, all these different things. And then what you have to do, you have to transmute those powers into something else so that you can gain greater knowledge from it. And that's where what the yogis call, you begin to perform samyamas on everything, using the psychic knowledge or the contemplation in order to learn and study. And then that takes you to a different level of spiritual consciousness, where you realize you don't need to use these psychic energies. But the psychic energies, the psychic knowledge, I mean, not the psychic energies, you don't need to use the psychic abilities, because why? You want to take the psychic abilities and move it to advanced psychic sight. An advanced psychic sight where you begin to see things not on a micro level, but a macro level. And you begin to understand the divine laws that govern everything. Because on a very basic psychic level is really obstacles to the greater vision that you're trying to get to.
So,
Yeah.
wait, 1 second.
I talk loud.
No, so they can hear you online.
Oh, well, I wanted to know, that is through that psycho, sensing, and physical astral, those energies go through the hypothesis when you get to the energy you use is used physically in our body through the hypothesis
You mean through the chakras or the psychic centers?
to the chakra and get to the hypothesis.
Yeah.
The corona, the crown chakra.
The crown chakra. Well, yeah, I mean, everything really, all the chakras really extend from the crown chakras. All the chakras below the crown chakra actually came from the crown chakra. Our goal is to merge back into the crown chakra. Yeah, yeah.
Open all the channel and open and
No, it doesn't happen. It happens slowly. It happens over lifetimes, unfortunately.
many lives.
Many lives. Maybe in the first time that you can actually bring about the opening, you might be able to bring about the opening of the first 3 chakras along the spine, the base, the sex, and maybe a little bit of the solar plexus chakra, right? But with practice, you'll be able to eventually bring the Kundalini up and open all, because you need the full power of the Kundalini to fully open and synchronize each chakra. Then you need to be able to bring it back down. So you need to be able to control that flow of Kundalini to a level where you can open the chakras and close the chakras at will. And then you become an adept. And then you can move between the realms. Is there another question online?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is it normal to hear a crack or popping sound when projecting, or a loud vibrating sound?
It depends on your sense. It depends on what senses you have opened up. Now, from someone who's observing you, who have the psychic senses, yes, there's a vortex that happens, and there's a sound. In fact, there's especially as you move from one rim to the next, there's a vortex of energy or bursts of mental and mental, psychic, and emotional type, what I call emotional type energy or astral type energy, that actually happens as you move from one rim to the next. Some people hear it, some people don't hear it. So it depends on your ability to hear that or sense it. But there is a sound. There's a sound, there's a burst of light, there's a wind play, there's all these things happen. Especially if someone on the astral planes materialize, you can actually see the vortex and the wind play and the energy play in the room or in the area. So now when you're projecting, it's up to you what psychic senses that you have developed for you to hear that or see that. Most people see things. They don't necessarily talk about hearing things. If they do hear something, they hear something within their body. They hear the rushing or the colliding of the molecules of the aura as they separate their consciousness to a different realm of existence. But they don't necessarily hear things around them. Any other questions? So that's everybody understand that on the chakras? I covered all the chakras, right? Okay. Now, with the chakras, another part of the chakras is the is the Tavic rays. And I think we talked about this last week, did we? Did we talk about the Tavic rays last week?
We talked about the 360 that come through the sun,
Okay.
but not the corresponding chakras.
Okay, well, of course, the corresponding, this is the corresponding chakras again, that there's the 360 rays that actually radiate from the sun through a sound vibration of the sun. The sun releases what the masters and yogis call the AUM. They releases this sound from the sun releases this every 32 minutes. Every 32 minutes, the sun releases the AUM sound, right? And this sound vibration travels out and it releases a particular pranic energy, right? And that energy pervades the earth for 3 hours. I think it's 3 hours and 30 minutes or something like that. It actually dominates the atmosphere of the earth, and that's this one of the secrets of pranayama, right? And developing yourself and doing the pranayama exercises. And every 32 minutes, a different prana is pushed out, and it takes that dominant position, and it lasts for 3 hours, for 3 hours and 30 minutes. So with it is the rays, the 360 rays that's being released, right? At that same time, those 360 rays, when they hit the earth and hit an auric body, like any one of our auric bodies, this is the breakdown that the yogis gave us. 56 rays go into the solar plexus, the base of the spine. 62 rays goes into the sex center. 52 rays go into the solar plexus center. 54 rays go into the heart center, and 72 rays go into the throat center, and 64 rays go into the Christ center. And when you add all them up, that's the 360 rays. So these rays, what these rays actually do, these rays help to define and create all the realms of existence on this planet and in the solar system. All right? So that's why each chakra level is a state of consciousness. Every time you think something, that thought, it doesn't come out of your head. It comes out of the chakras. It manifests itself out of the chakras, and it manifests out of the chakras from the level in which it relates to, right? So each ray is helps to build the realms of existence. Let's say right now we live between the physical, in the physical world. Right now, our conscious mind is in this physical world. This physical world is made up from the base chakra and the sex chakra. Now, of course, all the other chakras have a play in this world, but most of our thoughts, most of our thinking, most of the things that we have manifested here on this earth have came through the science of those 118 Tavic rays. Because why? Because that's where we're at. If you look at the energy we use, we always have some male type prone that goes into a receptacle like this right here in order to do what? Produce energy or life, right? It's male and female, because that's the way our mind works right now. It's only recently that we went wireless. But even with the wireless, we still go back to the binary type of concept, right? You know, the duality. Yeah, that's what we do. So our, you know, our existence circles around the sex center. You know, that's where our consciousness. Now, as we evolve and move up and our consciousness began to operate more out of the upper chakras, then our frame of mind would change. Our thought patterns would change. We'll be more accepting of people. It'll be totally different. The whole environment will change. But right now, when we create this table from our state of mind, it operates on this physical plane because that's where our consciousness is residing, right? In the ancient tantric teachings, it said that the Adamic man base of the spine was at the heart chakra. And that's why you had a race of adepts living here on Earth. You know, yeah, they were, because they was here before we came. And they, you know, they existed, their consciousness, their base of the spine was actually at the heart chakra. Yeah, well, and went up. Well, of course, you got more chakras in the crown chakra. But the thing is, but we don't need to worry about that because we have eons to get there. But the heart chakra, at where the Adamic man was, it gave him the ability to move freely on this earth without any modes of transportation. I mean, they can just teleportate where they needed to go to. You know, they can control the outside weather the way they wanted to. They can move from any realm of existence where they wanted to, because their consciousness was at the heart chakra. You know. Yeah.
It was what is the name? Sorry, I can't hear.
Adamic, yeah.
The primordial.
Yeah, they were before the Lemurian. They were before the Lemurian man.
Before the
Yeah, they were before the Lemurian.
Adamic.
Yes. So
This is like an archetype.
It's a kind of
well,
it's more subtle, more subtle is in Spanish. Subtle is very
Subtle?
subtle.
subtle.
More.
Yeah. They live more on the
esoterically also.
yeah, they live more on the etheric realms. Yeah, they live more on the etheric realms.
That is like more subtle.
Yeah, but it's still physical though.
Yeah, no. It's
Still,
everything is
yeah.
matter and energy.
Yeah.
Energy and matter
Yeah.
is the same.
Yeah, but they were able to move from physical to etheric almost transparently, right? Right?
Sorry, my English. My English is not so.
Okay, it's all right. Yeah. Yes. The earth became grosser during the Lemurian days. The earth had to go through a metamorphosis in order to accept mankind. You know, this race of mankind. You know, it was in the I think it was Alice Bailey and Madame Blavatsky who talked about it. They talked about the root races, and they talked about I think by the time they got to the third root race, which was the introduction of mankind as we know it today, or the race of people we know it today, not as mankind as we know it today, but the race of people we know it of today, that actually was introduced into this into this cycle of reincarnation of Earth. They became grosser. In fact, the Lemurian race, as the Atlantic race was grosser than the Lemurian race, and now this race that we're in now, the Calliope race, is grosser then then the Atlantic or the Lemuria, because we became grosser and grosser and grosser. Now the cycle's supposed to spin back, where we're supposed to move towards more an etheric level instead of grosser level. If you want to say it. Now everything's gross, but in other words, it will mean that we will gain greater mental control over the gross. We have to move back in that direction. And that's what this whole New Age thing is about, where we will begin to use more of our mind in the fifth and the sixth root race. Will begin to exhibit more mental energy over physical matter. And that's where we need to go at. Huh?
You would still have gross physical.
Yes.
Body, yeah.
Now you got to think, when you're on the astral plane, you have a gross physical body too.
Yeah.
It's just related to that frequency of existence. Everything's is gross. You don't go to the astral realms or the etheric realms and you can put your hand through your through your chest. It's not like that. You have a gross physical body. It's just to that particular frequency of matter. Okay? It's a different kind, yeah. So everybody understand this? So each another thing. The Tavic rays, this is and don't look at none of this as separate because it's all together. I just break it up so that you can understand it. All of this are together. The Tavic rays, each ray has a devic or diva presence to it. Okay? And the divas are loyal servants of the Lords of Karma. And the Lords of Karma is nothing but, what's the better way to say it? They're great servants of God. They keep, in other words, when God spoke the word and creation was brought about, you had a group of entities or divine beings just like us. We had the same opportunity. They decided from day one that they would protect the law of God, and they would work in accordance to the will of God. In other words, they accepted freedom instead of free will. Okay, and that's the big difference between the divas and us, because the divas is a race of beings. It's a race of beings. So they decided, I don't want free will. I want freedom, and the freedom is that they will never break the law of God. They will always move forward in the way in which God wanted things to go. And that means also that we do, who said we wanted free will, that when we ask for free will, we create a pressure, a negative pressure towards ourselves, in a sense, because we move something out of line, and then we have to do a series of actions in order to put it back in line. So though that Devic kingdom, instead of them living in the realms of existence, they live between the realms in a vibrational state, and they make sure that that pressure stay there until we are awakened enough to push it back. They create the necessary pressure to allow us to put things back in order. Okay, so they never ever go outside of the law of karma in a sense. We don't either. We just create pressure for ourselves, because karma is pressure towards conformity. So as we move through life without any regards to the law, we create all this negative pressure against us until we wake up and say, okay, I better not do that anymore. You know. So that's what that's what the lords of karma or the Devic kingdom, that's what they do. You know, they carry out to make sure that pressure towards conformity is always there on the little tiniest thing. In fact, you cannot have water in this room without having a diva here. Air cannot exist without a diva. You know, a plant can't grow without a diva. You know, the blood rushing through your veins cannot be there without the diva, because the divas are always there taking care of all the elements. And of course, our body is made up of many, many different variations of elements. So the divas are always there. All right. So each one of these Tavic rays represent a diva. And then of course, you have the groups of divas, and then you have different levels of the divas. You know, so let's say in the Mulahara group of Devic rays, you have one major diva that's over those rays, and then in the sex center you have one diva that's over those rays, and then you have another diva that makes up the conversion of those rays, because the sex center, the base center and the sex center is a conversion point, which I think we talked about last week, which is the Grantee knot, right? You guys remember me talking about the Grantee knot? Well, the Grantee knot is the base chakra and the sex chakra coming together, and it creates what's called a Grantee knot. And that Grantee knot is a conversion point of those two chakras, and the set of 118 Tavic rays, and there's a diva that's over that. See, so it sounds complicated until you get it on paper, and it's really not. But that's what these divas are. They are loyal servants of the lords of karma, and they exert the necessary pressure in order to allow us to experience our free will. Okay?
I have some questions online.
Go ahead.
What level would the teacher classify himself to be at his quest? In his quest?
At what?
In this quest. So, what level would the teacher classify himself to be at in this quest?
What quest?
I guess you're trying to ask what level.
How would you want you to classify, tell them what level you think you are?
Yeah, it's so.
Why is that necessary?
I know. Anyway.
Huh? What? I don't want to. Ask them to clarify that. What do they mean?
Next question. What is a practical technique to get started?
It's the techniques I've been telling everyone over the last 10, 12 weeks. You use the various practices, pranayama, mantra. First of all, the 8 limbs of yoga. And you use pranayama, mantra, and various levels of concentration within the different yoga systems, which I gave all of that out. And tell them I have over 250 videos that give you all this information online. And I think you all who's been here through that, can attest to it.
Okay. And the next question, what if you raise it up through your crown? I assume they're referring to Kundalini. What if you raise it up through your crown? Mm-hmm. And they think they made a comment saying seeing orbs making up reality and waves of energy in the physical world?
Most likely, most people are not going to be able to raise Kundalini up to the crown. That's not going to happen and with most people. And if they did, they wouldn't have to ask a question. You can raise Kundalini up to the sex center and see the orbs. Okay, so you don't have to go to the crown. You can raise the Kundalini up to the solar plexus center and see that and more. So, in fact, the basic raise of Kundalini will have you to begin to see what we call energy gobblers, which you'll see orbs of energy all around you, right? And that's just the basic rise of Kundalini, right? And it's not a full rise of Kundalini, it's a partial rise of Kundalini. What will happen in a partial rise of Kundalini, you close your eyes, and on your eyelids, you'll begin to see tremendous vortexes of energy. After a while, you'll be able to open your eyes and you'll still be able to see the orbs of energy. And you'll begin to see an aura around everything around you. And you'll see energy moving in and out of those things, whether it's a chair, a glass of water, a dog, a cat, or whatever. You'll begin to see all these, all these different energies and auras and movement of energies. So and then you'll begin to hear them. You'll begin to smell them, and you'll begin to even sense the taste of them, if you can understand, and you'll know the feel of them. So all that is basic. That's basic clairvoyance. A lot of people try to relate it back to the Christ Center or the Crown Center, but it's not. And it's like I said, there's a special relationship with the Sex Center and the Christ Center, and you think you're looking through the Christ Center or the third eye, but you're not. It's only a reflection, and the reflection is a lot of times it's right there on your eyelids, So, but it's not. When you raise Kundalini, when you fully raise Kundalini, you go into a state of conscious death. And when you and as you raise that Kundalini, wherever that Kundalini have left the body, that part of the body is dead. Now you brought about that conscious state, so you can bring life back into it when you bring the Kundalini back down. But when you finish, you feel like a truck now ran over you. Your body feel really hurt. You can barely walk at times. Some people have vomiting spells. I mean, you have chills, you have fever, but it's you'll know that you've been there. You'll know that you have raised the power of Kundalini. Any other questions? Okay, let's push on then. The next part of this, we talked about the nature of the chakra, the vortex center of the chakras. Now we're going to talk about, we talked about the Tavic rays of the chakras, and now we're going to talk about the sound quality, the seed mantra, right? And this is this can be considered the Sata body, or the sound body, right?
Sabda?
Sata.
Sabda?
Sata, like Nata, Sata.
Okay.
Sata is subtle soundless vibrations. Yeah, the subtle soundless vibrations. Yeah. Yes, and we associate that with seed mantras, okay, with the chakra, with the BJs of the chakras. So in there, in each chakra, you have petals. You have 4 petals in the base chakra. You have 6 petals in the sex chakra. You have 10 petals in the solar plexus chakra. You have 12 petals in the heart chakra. You have 16 petals in the throat chakra, and you have 2 petals in the Christ chakra, and you have approximately 1,000 petals in the crown chakra. So each one of these petals are actually seed mantras. They're actually sound bits of sound, right? And some yogis call them the original samskaras of the soul. In other words, and you know the soul, a samskara is like a scar on the auric body. That's what it actually is. It's like a scar on the auric body. So what they was suggesting that when the soul was forming the various bodies, it spoke these words, which created a little tiny scar within the chakra that allowed the nadis to pass through. In other words, each chakra has these particular petals in them at various levels. Now, that's why, that's one reason why we have what we call the malas, or the Catholic call them the rosaries, the beads. And there's 108 chakras within the body, and there's 108 beads on on the mala or the rosary, right? So what we're doing is a reenactment of what the soul did. See? So what they do, the reason why the Hindus and the Buddhists started that many thousands of years ago, is that they would take a mantra, they would say a mantra, and they'll count it. They'll say that mantra 108 times, right? Or across the beads. They'll say it 108 times, and they'll repeat that. And they'll tell you that, like one yogi, adept or master or your teacher will tell you, go and do 1,000 malas, meaning that means 1,000 times 108 times chant this mantra, and your problem should go away from you. So that's way, those were practices they did in order to help burn up negative karma within people aura. They'll look at their aura and they'll say, well, I subscribe to you to go do this so many times. And that's why they would do it, because if that person chant these holy sound vibrations for 108 times 1,000, they're going to burn up a lot of negative karma, So that's what they use that for. So in the petals, it is inside the chakra, you have these petals, and these petals is where the nadis rise up and thread itself through, okay, through that particular chakra, and then from there, the life stream exists on those particular realms of existence. and that, by doing that. In other words, the body is locked, the consciousness is locked into that particular body. All right?
So does that mean there are... No, that doesn't make any sense. Never mind.
What are you trying to calculate?
Yeah, shouldn't there be, I was thinking, should there be 242,000 petals?
No. That doesn't, no. No,
Not
that
every-
doesn't. No, that doesn't mean that. No. Okay. It's what time? Is it getting too late? How long? We've been here for a while, right?
It's almost, oh, it is almost 2.
Yeah, I think we've been here more than an hour. So, I mean, if you all don't have any other questions, we can close out with a prayer. Is there any more questions online?
Yeah. Jason asks, how can I obtain the correct pronunciation mantra for each the 7 chakras?
Jason, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, you can, if you want to go that route. Most mantras are formulated by yogi adepts or masters. After going through different states of meditation, they find what's called the root of that particular mantra or chakras. The mantras was in the sound vibration within the different chakras, and then they formulate a particular mantra for a race of people. Now, the Aetheric Society have an initiation tape on mantras that I can recommend from Dr. George King. And they have 11 mantras on that particular tape. And you can buy that tape, and you can go to aetherics.org and buy that tape. And you'll be initiated into 11 mantras that you can use in order to help develop yourself and balance your karma. Any other?
And the other one, therefore, the evolution of the we supposed
Of the human
to be
race?
in the fourth
Root race?
rounds. Yes, the 4
Root race.
root race.
Yeah.
And we're going to go through the fifth.
We're actually in the 5th root race according to them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Therefore, when we start going through the involution state, going back to the la rueda, the crown, las ruedas, there are 7.
The realms.
The
realms.
7 rounds, and each one has 7. Okay. When we are going to be, the vibration will be going up. And that is the point when we're going through the rounds, we are becoming more and more less gross.
Yeah. Now, I think some of their calculation was a little off, but here you have the concept that every realm of existence have 7 realms within it. And each one of those 7 realms have another 7 realms.
7.
And each one of the 7 sub-realms have another 7 realms, right? So now if you go back to the ancient tantric teachings, which is very similar, they talk about the Tavic rays, and they talk about the 360 Tavic rays, and they talk about each chakra. And they tell us that the first that where mankind is the sex center and the base center and the sex center. That's where most of their consciousness lie at. And below there is what they call the lower astral realms, right? Which they relate everything to the chakra. In your legs, you have different chakras. And those chakras make up the lower astral realms, right? And, and they claim that most of the population of Earth is actually in the lower realms. So, so only a few people live above, above that. And then you can see that reflected when you come out here on this physical plane, because you have so much chaos going right now. There's hundreds of wars being fought right now across the physical realm. So what happens is that they prescribe a formula to allow us to conquer the 118 realms between the sex center, between the base of the spine and the sex center. And when we do that, we should be able to break away from that mindset and move up to the higher realms of existence. So that's why we find ourselves stuck to this gross physical realm of existence and desiring everything. That's why they teach us detachment and attachment, right? Detach from this and attach to this, but yet only attach back to that when it's absolutely necessary. In other words, the way the American Indians, the way they say they used to live, they only went out to hunt and to hunt down the food that they actually needed to eat for that particular time. They didn't they didn't build up and kill everything all at one time, and then put it in storage and then have to throw away half of it because it's spoiled. So yes, yeah. So it's a lot more I can say about that, but that's the way we have to learn to live. We have to learn to live within the law, and the realms of the realms of existence is not that simple. Although you can prescribe to that, but it's just not that simple, because it's far, far more complex than that. Any other questions online?
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and close out. And we do a prayer, and we use a particular mudra in order to do that prayer. We face the east, and we take our hands and we place our hands down to the side, and we use this particular mudra right here to build up the energy in the body, having our feet slightly apart. We breathe in and out, and we imagine that a brilliant living white light or violet color light is coming down through the top of our heads, and we store this energy up. And then when we get ready to say the prayer, we raise our hands like this, opening the hands, the arms, hold the arms up like this, and open the palms of the hands, and imagine that the energy is releasing through the palm, which is a major psychic center, and the tips of the finger. We push the energy out of there, and we also imagine that the white light or violet color light is leaving the heart chakra at the same time as we voice the prayer. And then when we finish with the prayer, we dust our hands. We say, "So it is done." We whisper, "So it is done," so that someone around you cannot hear you. And then we dust our hands to cut the energy off. Other than that, the energy just keep flowing out of you all day long. So you want to dust the hands like this, after you say, "So it is done." And the reason why we whisper is because we're giving a mental command to the mental realms of existence, because that's where the energy was released to. Okay? So let's go ahead and say our prayer.
And Jason, just to reiterate, it's whenever you're doing the 12 lessons, you just say the title and then the prayer. So if it's like the first blessing, blessed are they who work for peace, we do a few moments of silence, and then we recite the prayer. That's how it is for blessings 1 through 11. But for the 12th blessing, we actually read the entire blessing. Okay. The New Lord's Prayer. divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power, to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. O great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.